It was the audience, the clientele that made me. I didn't make it because I made pretty pictures, and they just sort of enjoyed what I produce. And to young artists, it doesn't just take pretty pictures. It takes people that like what you do, and there's millions of those. My name is Baje Whitethorne Sr. Then my clans are the Reed, Yucca Fruit, and then also the Minigoats and Minigoats. So what is the world, and what is how would you describe, or who would be professional? So we talk about things like Andy Warhol. Was he an artist? Leonardo da Vinci, was he an artist? How were they artists? Were they professional, or were they just different than everybody else? Beginning of school, there was I had no clue as to what I was going to do. To fight that, I guess, is I had too many other interests, What are you going to be in your life? What are you going to be doing in your life? And I really didn't have a chance to think about it. And I was just a part of what is, I guess, a formal education. And to be asked, what do you want to do? What do you want to study? That was beyond me and everybody that I was in class with. The majority of them were wanting to be teachers. So I just said, well, sure, I'll be a teacher, I think my third year in college, I just lost interest. It wasn't what I thought it would be. There's a lot of dorm people, dormitory, boarding school people, teachers that saw what I could do with art or, drawing. And they encouraged me by, I know one of them said that you can have this stack of paper to draw on if you do your math work, homework. And which was good to work for, yeah. And then a lot of them said if you only take a little more time, make a little more time, put a little more effort in what you like to do, a good life as an artist. And those people have plenty. I think a lot of those people sort of, I guess all the artwork you see here is because of them, There was a time, I think when I was 34, my wife was attending school. We managed to talk a lot, and there was a day I remember saying, honey, I'm going to quit my job and pursue my art career, because all of these people that ever commented or suggested or encouraged my art career, they always said if you just make a little more time or make some time so you can do something with the artwork. Her answer was, who's going to buy the work? And I just said, I have no idea. It's like going out to the middle of the ocean and on a platform, and you sort of figure out which way to jump in. My family is a family that supports what I do. I think they understand the idea of having a calendar. They understand the idea that I have to do this for a living. It's the lifestyle that I have. So I had to make a choice, make a decision, so I took it to them first. And the kids, they were in school. They were little, and they were like they'd go off in the morning and come back at noon. So I think they were big enough to decide what time was. I drew a pie, a clock, 24-hour clock. And they took it, and I'm not sure exactly how many days, but they came back with the time that they were all off to school, which is like 6 in the morning to 12 noon when they came back. And it's always been like that, so that's, I guess, understanding what they're thinking and the time they have is that is precious with them, so that was given, that was understood. Over the many years of doing that, the family just sort of understand that I have to come over here, to do something, to create something. It's just something that is a part of the lifestyle that we live. I was a part of an art project for the new Navajo casino, Twin Arrows, and so all of a sudden I was asked, we want you guys to help us do some artwork, and chose 20 artists. I knew there was going to be times where everybody's just going to be, with the profiles they came with, we were going to be trying to, we kind of looked like a group of rams in a sheep corral trying to get the upper hand over each other. But we managed to stay in the ring and work things out, and we did the project. We sort of played around for 4 days. The 5th day we really said to each other, hey, what are we doing? Are we trying to outdo each other, or shall we do this together? So it kind of rolled in together and came about in a way that everybody sort of respected each other and honored each other, and sort of got a routine together. And so in a way we sort of found that description of a professional artist who is Navajo. I guess 1 is respect, 2 is understanding, 3 is listening, and then 3rd is thinking as a unit, and the 4th is honoring each other. And everybody learned about each other, and everybody just didn't think of themselves, they thought as a group. So I sat down to do this story, which is my first attempt to write a story. And I wrote this story. This story, Sun Painter, is about, this is me in my chair. And then this is a time that I remember in my childhood, which was very special, and a day with my grandfather. Like I said, my grandfather was always, would say things like, I talked to him about education, what I've learned at school, ABCs and all of this stuff. Then he would say, in Navajo, the sheep corral, the garden, the cornfield, the horses, the donkeys, that's all education too, And so I always thought about that, how he related to what is Navajo education, I guess, To actually sit down and write this story and to have it published, and then to give it to him in English. He liked it because his dad wrote the story, and that's his dad's story. And so he made him a little more Navajo, and the first thing he said, "Did you just make that up?" I said, "No, this is a real story that happened when Grandpa and I spent a day during the eclipse, And that's what the story is. So he took it and read it. I spent a lot of time with him and where he lived, and there was a tree there behind his hogan. He'd come around early in the morning before, at sunrise, and numerous times he'd come by, sometimes almost weekly or daily or every other day to spend time taking. He was a horse person. He used to be a rancher for close to Flagstaff, and so the first thing he would say in the morning is, instead of good morning or anything, he just kicked my feet and say, "Come on, you lazy bum." When I went off to college, never saw him again after that. He had died in one of the winters. So yeah, so I still, there's still a special place. I draw pictures of him, sometimes. Yeah. You have to pay attention to the little things and take your time doing things, You just don't take it for granted. And watch, listen, make sure you see, make sure you think, make sure you are comfortable in your decisions, I guess. I guess that's one of the things that I learned from my grandfather. I used to go see him, and he would always, like when you get to his house, he would take his jeans off, he had two pairs of jeans. One was new and one was old. He took the old one off, and he was ready to go to the trading post. And I would listen to my music, CCR, way back, and just turn it up while he's in the car, And he says, "Why don't you turn it down?" Or he say, "Ja, dik yes." And then I would do it, and he always say, "What's wrong with smelling the roses, the bushes, along the road, the bugs and things? Don't you pay attention to that?" She'd listen, breathe the air a little bit. So that sort of remind me of that. You just sort of, you're on the go. You got to do this. You got to go and make things happen in the world. But you have to think and wait a little bit. Take your time. Do it at your leisure. And that's the way, kind of the way I teach now, is to step back a little bit. Pay attention to what you're going to do. Mentally, physically, prepare yourself. I think the artwork will, from what I learned about art history and the world, what the art is I think my life is only a wink in the life of my work, so whatever. And I think I'm a historian enough that I portrayed a lot of the forms and culture in my work to where kids ask, "What is this? What is that?" So it's easy to talk about it because that's what I grew up with and that's what I know. And it's easy to sit down and draw those forms and put it in color and lines and things. I don't have to research it, I think I know that kids and young people like what I do the way I do it, the unique portrayal of what is culture and what is Navajo and what is in color, has movement, has balance, has a trace of, or indicates life, And I hope that they emulate or pretend to or copy it or whatever, because it gives them a start, And it took a lot of work, effort to get somewhere. You not only did it take just me, because I painted pretty pictures, and all the people that supported the idea and grew with me as clients for the last 40, 50 years. They're the ones that bragged on me, like if they bought a piece of artwork or saw what I did, and they shared it with probably I don't know how many people. So imagine taking 1 million people buying something and multiplying that by another 1 million. How many people around the world have your work, It took them to make me work a little bit harder and do more. I think those people are I guess to profile anybody. I guess there are probably 1 million people out there in the yard. All of them did something, said something, or that's what makes me,